Right, let's turn our attention to Liverpool then, and Jurgen Klopp, who asked that people reserve judgement on him and his side until the end of the season. After losing to Leeds on Saturday, Liverpool are 9th in the Premier League, 15 points behind the leaders, Arsenal.
Yeah, all out there to be judged. It's completely fine. Manager, players, that's how life is and in professional football is. So, but in this moment, I don't think about that at all because we cannot change it anyway. So we have to go through this, and if you want to get out of something, very often, first of all, you have to go through it, and that's what we are doing, obviously. Yes, with some highlights, but with some blows as well. We see that, and we saw it now only recently, and. If you can judge single moments and say, how can we do that? How what I did after the game, the second goal, oh my God, I still woke up at night because of the goal. But anyhow, there's a reason why it happened. So is it the right reason? No. But you can see in the situations the boys want to win the game.
Are you ever concerned that this team might have just reached the end of its cycle and it's in decline now? Is that a concern?
So we are obviously all out there, and we do the job in public, and I think the judgment for this will be later on in the season. Let me say or maybe at the end of the season, where I say, okay, that's obviously now that's it for this group of players, whatever, for this manager, if you want, whatever question will be asked then. It will be judged about me now as well, which is absolutely fine. But when people look at me, then they will say, looks tired or whatever, that's normal as well. I'm not. I cannot give that excuse. It's too much for me and stuff. It's not. So my job is not only being here in the moment when the sun is shining and somebody gives us a trophy. My job is as well here to be there when we have to go to a really rough period. So, and I will do that with all I have, or if possible, even more, 100%. It's a rough moment, no doubt about that, and nobody is flying here like life is great. No, but there's only one chance to face it. Go for it, and that's what we will do.
Right, let's go live to our reporter Vinny O'Connor, who was in that news conference. So, Vinny, look, Klopp telling us here that he is going to give it his all during the rough period. He was questioned about his side's fight, though. What did he have to say about that?
Yeah, it's clear that the criticism has stung the Liverpool boss. It's stung Liverpool as a whole, albeit we spoke to James Milner after Jurgen Klopp today as well. He says the criticism is to be expected because of the high standards that Liverpool have set. But the talk about fight, I think, came about because of those running stats against Leeds at the weekend and the fact that Leeds comprehensively outran Liverpool on the pitch. The example brought up today, though, was whether Liverpool lacked fight in the Nottingham Forest game. Obviously, the two consecutive defeats that Liverpool have faced in the Premier League of late. Now, Jurgen Klopp can accept that, yes, of course, his side can play better at the moment, but when it comes to lacking fight, that's something he won't accept.
There have been some performances where that fight hasn't been there, so how do you ensure that fight is there?
Which performances where we didn't fight?
Forest, maybe?
That's, again, our life. It's completely what you're all right and I'm wrong. That's how it is. But to say we didn't fight against Forest is actually, yeah, still not right. Because you lose a game, and that's how it is. You lose a game, and then people tell you you didn't try hard enough. You can fight obviously in a different way. Against Forest, we ran against the wall, a deep defending wall, and conceded a completely unnecessary goal. And yes, we could have played better, we could have done a lot of things better, but the boys fight. And this is not a game where you now can outrun the opponent because you have the ball all the time and run against the wall. So that's a different thing. The fight is there. Do we do it always with 100%? For that you need the full conviction about what you're doing as well, and you need the full physical ability to do that. So let me say it like this, the fighting spirit is not our problem this moment. That's there. This group in that aspect didn't change and will not change.
Arguably, he was pretty buoyant, though, considering what has happened to his side over the last two games in the Premier League. But we've seen him really enjoy his time, haven't we, with the media over the years. Do you think that's still the case?
I think it is to a certain extent, Vicky. I mean, that exchange there was a little bit prickly, I suppose. I had an experience with Jurgen Klopp the other week when I asked him where Liverpool had lost their spark. And again, it led to an interesting exchange. But the fact of the matter is that Jurgen Klopp, whether he agrees with you or disagrees with you, he generally doesn't hold it against you. And the next time you see him, he's in a pretty decent mood. And he was today as well. He's got to be positive. He's got a big game against Napoli to look forward to, of course. Liverpool have already qualified for the next stage of the Champions League. So it's a case of just finding that consistency at the moment in the Premier League. But what he did allude to today was that it's a lot easier coming into news conferences, facing the likes of myself and the other gathered journalists when things are going well compared to what it's like at the moment when Liverpool are obviously struggling for consistent form.
You come here and ask a few questions and more or less happy with the answers, that's fine. But my life around is actually the job. I used to say that press conferences are like holiday. I cannot say that anymore because facing your questions is, when you lose, is really tough. 8 interviews after a game you lose, and when you still have not sorted everything, what you think about it is a real torture. But again, that's part of the job. And I had another look in my wage slip, and that's what I'm paid for. So and pretty good as well. So it's okay. You can criticize, absolutely right. We have to work.
I think arguably, though, the tougher test that Jurgen Klopp is facing this week, and he'd probably agree, is the fact that they're up against Napoli again in the Champions League. We know what happened on match day 1. He said today that Napoli have a good chance to go to the final. They are the form team in Europe, and Liverpool, of course, want to bounce back after defeat to Leeds at the weekend and, of course, put themselves in good spirits ahead of that game against Spurs in the Premier League at the forthcoming weekend as well.
Yeah, they certainly will. Thank you very much, Vinny. Well, look, earlier, former Liverpool defender Stephen Warnock explained why he thinks Jurgen Klopp's side are struggling this season. He pleaded for the owners to give the manager help and told us this January's transfer window could be crucial.
Year upon year, the net spend has been very low, and everyone applauds Liverpool for that. But when you take into consideration, in the time that Jurgen Klopp's come in, Villa have spent more, Everton have spent more, West Ham have spent more, I think Newcastle maybe as well. You're looking at net spends and you're thinking they're all above you. It's very difficult for Jurgen Klopp to continue to put a team out that's going to compete for the league title with a net spend which is pretty much mid-table in the Premier League. They feel heavily reliant on a manager with his ability to be able to continue to turn out that quality. And is it slowly catching up on them now? I think it's a big transfer window for them in January.
Yeah, so after 2 consecutive defeats in the league, Liverpool face a tough game in prospect this weekend. You can see Tottenham against Liverpool. It's the second part of Super Sunday on Sky Sports Premier League and main event from 4 p.m.